Go stand at your bathroom mirror in the morning light and look at the two soft pockets under your eyes, and then open the cabinet beside that mirror and read the price sticker on the smallest jar in there, because it is always the smallest jar that costs the most. That little half-ounce jar of eye cream runs $30 at the drugstore, $50 to $80 at the counter, and the dermatologist's shelf carries one at $140. And every one of those jars holds about 15 milliliters, which is 1 tablespoon, and it is gone in 2 or 3 months. And then you buy it again, and you buy it forever. The companies selling you that tablespoon took in $3.6 billion in a single recent year on under-eye products alone, and they expect that number to more than double inside this decade, and they are counting on your two soft pockets to get them there. Now I want to tell you about a jar in my refrigerator door that I filled from a $3 box of tea, and a pressing motion my grandmother did with one finger, and together they take 3 minutes a morning, and they have served my family for 4 generations. My name is Yoon Ho Park. I was raised in Boseong County, in South Jeolla Province, in the south of Korea, the county that grows 4 out of every 10 cups of green tea drunk in my country, and my family has worked tea there since my great-grandfather's day, back when the terraces were first cut into those hills, and I am 61 years old, and I have never once bought an eye cream, and neither did my mother, and neither did her mother. I use the words city people for folks who were raised to buy their answers instead of inherit them. And I say plainly that no disrespect is meant by it, because it is not their fault, and by the end of this you will know exactly what to buy, which is almost nothing, exactly what to do with it, and exactly where it must be kept, which is the part most folks get wrong. And I will also tell you the part that should make you a little uneasy, which is why nobody standing behind a counter ever told you, "Stay with me." Let me start with what most folks get wrong, because if you do not understand this, none of the rest will work. You believe the darkness and the puffiness under your eyes are one problem. They are two. The puffiness is water. You lie flat for 7 hours, and the fluid in your face has nowhere to drain, so it pools in the loosest skin you own, the way water finds the low spot in a field. The darkness is different. The skin under your eye is the thinnest skin on your body, about 0.5 millimeter, thin as the skin on scalded milk, and the small blood vessels beneath it show through the way a dark table shows through a worn tablecloth. So you need 2 things. You need cold and pressure to move the water and narrow those vessels, and you need something to tighten and calm that thin skin. And that is where the tea earns its place. Green tea carries caffeine, which narrows small blood vessels when it sits cold on the skin, and it carries tannin, the same astringent that dries your mouth when you brew it too strong. And that gentle tightening pull is what that thin skin wants. The chemists call the tea compounds catechins, and the strongest one goes by AGG, and that is a mouthful, and you may look it up if you like, and then forget it, because my grandmother never heard either word, and it served her to 93, and I will be honest with you about something the enthusiastic videos will not say. That thin skin is still a wall, and most of what is in the tea stays on the surface. A good part of what this method does is the cold itself, plain cold, pressed to the right place at the right hour. The tea makes the compress better. It does not make it magic. Honest is better than impressive. This is not one family's superstition either. Tea has been grown and used in Korea for over 1,000 years. The compress is old household practice, and the cosmetics companies know exactly what is in it, which is why you will find caffeine printed in small letters on the ingredient list of that $140 jar, sitting behind $137 of packaging. Now here is the fork in the road, and getting this wrong is why people try this once and quit. You must use real tea, plain, unflavored, unsweetened green tea, the kind with nothing on the ingredient line but tea, not the herbal boxes. Chamomile and peppermint and rooibos are pleasant plants, but they are not tea, they carry no caffeine, and they will soothe you and change nothing. And never a flavored tea, because citrus oils sting thin skin. Here is your whole list. 1 box of plain green tea bags. Tea aisle, $3. 1 bag of plain cotton rounds. Cosmetics aisle, right below the expensive jars, $1. One small clean jar with a lid, washed out from jam, which you already own. First time cost, $4. Ongoing cost, maybe $12 a year. Hold that 12 in your head, because I am going to set it beside another number in a few minutes. Now the procedure, in the order I do it every morning and have done for 40 years. Twice a week, in the evening, you brew. 1 bag, 1 cup of water just off the boil, steeped 5 full minutes, longer than you would steep it to drink, because you want it strong, then poured into the jar, lid on, and here is the placement rule, so listen close, because this is the thing most people get wrong. The jar lives in the refrigerator door, not the bathroom shelf, not the counter. The cold is half the medicine, and warm tea on a shelf is a curiosity, and cold tea in the door is a system. In the morning, before your coffee, take 2 cotton rounds, dip them, squeeze them wet but not dripping, lie your head back, close your eyes, and lay one on each eye, low, over the pocket, not the eyeball. 5 minutes. Sit and breathe. Then the trick I promised, my grandmother's part, with the pad of your ring finger, your weakest finger, which is the whole reason she chose it, you press, never rub, starting at the inner corner beside the nose and walking outward in 5 small presses to the temple, 3 passes each side, 90 seconds in all, moving that pooled water along the drain it already wants to find. She called the whole ritual the morning press, and in her kitchen it was as ordinary as rinsing rice. Now let me be honest with you about what it does and what it does not, because the title over this video says forever, and I have to walk that word back. If your dark circles are inherited pigment, and for many families they are, and they can show up even in childhood, the morning press will soften the look, and it will never erase it, and no cream at any price will either, and anyone promising otherwise is selling something. If your puffiness comes from allergies or salt or short sleep, the press moves the water, but the water keeps coming until you fix the tap. What it honestly does, done daily, is take down the morning swelling within the week and keep that thin skin calmer, year over year. One safety rule, and it is the same rule that makes the method work. Fresh brew only. 3 days in the door, then out. Because old tea grows things you do not want near an eye, and people who reuse dangling wet bags for a week have ended up at the skin doctor with irritated reddened lids, and the fix was simply cleanliness. Eyes closed always. Liquid on the skin, never in the eye, and if you have a real eye condition, that belongs to your doctor, not to a tea jar. Now you are thinking, my dermatologist will tell me a proper retinol cream beats a wet cotton round. For pigment and fine lines, she may be right, and I do not think she is lying to you. But ask her what constricts the vessels and moves the morning water, and watch how close her answer sits to a cold compress and a fingertip. Now I want to take a moment, because this is the part that matters. Follow the money on that little jar. The company that fills it profits. The laboratory that sends it profits. The counter that displays it profits. The influencer who holds it to a camera profits. $3.6 billion a year, climbing toward 8. Nobody profits from cold tea and a ring finger. Nobody ever will. I do not believe these people met in a room and agreed to hide your grandmother's kitchen from you. What happened is quieter and worse than a conspiracy. There is no money in the cheap answer. So the cheap answer got no advertising. And after 2 generations of silence, you did not forget this. It was taken from you, 1 commercial at a time. I was 7, sitting on the warm floor of my grandmother's kitchen in Bosong, watching her lean against the wall with 2 dark wet rounds on her closed eyes, still as a stone, while the rice water simmered, and I thought she was resting, and it took me 30 years to understand she was working. Our village elder said it plain on his porch once. A person who can tend his own body with his own hands asks permission from no one, and a person who must buy his face back every morning is paying rent on himself. So here is what I want you to do this weekend. Buy the plain green tea, $3. Buy the cotton rounds, $1. Wash a jam jar. Brew strong. Chill in the door. And Monday morning, 5 minutes of cold, 90 seconds of pressing. Ring finger, inner corner to temple. Every morning for 7 days. $4. 3 minutes. By next Sunday, you will stand at that same mirror and see the pocket sitting flatter. And you will feel that thin skin cool and firm under your fingertip. And you will feel one thing more. The small, quiet anger of a person who just learned what he had been paying for. Tell me in the comments what your last eye cream cost, how many years you have been buying it, and whether your own grandmother kept a kitchen remedy of her own, because I read every reply, and the replies are the reason an old tea farmer keeps talking to a camera. Next time I am going to show you what my mother did with the rice water. The cloudy water city people pour down the drain every day, a soft cloth, a pinch of salt, and one more ingredient I will not name until then, because it is the natural next step after this one. Press gently, brew strong, keep the jar cold, and remember what the old ones always knew, that the truest wealth is the practical wisdom of the people who worked with their Han.